Plaintiff Sherry Clays and her husband Andrew say Sherry has done everything for the defendant, who's her sister. But her sister is nothing but a pothead who can't get a job because she can't pass a drug test. They're suing for the value of a saw and a refrigerator. Defendants Nate Kilker and his wife Cameo say ever since Sherry married Andrew, she has totally changed. They're countersuing for harassment because they say Sherry threatened Cameo's life.
Start with you.
First of all, I want to tell you about the people that we're here with. It's my sister, Cameo, and her husband, Nate. And Cameo and I had a very close relationship. I raised her. Our parents weren't there, and I was financially and emotionally supportive of her. And I think part of the problem is that I have stopped doing that. Nate and Cameo.
When did you stop?
I just recently stopped.
Okay.
That's a lie. It's been since she married Andrew. She would help me out when I was younger, but as soon as she married Andrew, her life changed up 3.
How long ago was that?
15, 17 years ago, because I'm 32 now.
I cut down on being financially supportive of her, but not emotionally.
Ago?
I started cutting down, but recently I've cut it off.
Okay.
That's not true. I haven't really gotten much since I was 18 from her.
Yeah, but didn't get much out of her?
No.
It dried up.
Said it well dried up.
No, I grew up and became responsible. I held down 2 full-time jobs when I was 18, and I just didn't need her support.
Right. So why was your statement, I haven't been able to get much out of her? Shouldn't have been looking for anything out of her if all you said is true.
Financially and emotionally supportive of her. And I think part of the problem is that I have stopped doing that.
That's not true. I haven't really gotten much since I was 18 from her.
Yeah, but didn't get much out of her?
No.
It dried up.
Said it well dried up.
Plaintiff Sherry Clays and her husband Andrew are suing Sherry's sister, who claims Sherry threatened her life.
But you say she's still getting it, or was until recently.
Right.
Like what? Give me some examples.
I co-signed on a car for her that
When?
she wrecked.
That was a big deal there. When?
Yes. This was about 10 years ago.
Okay.
And she wrecked it, and
That's
I
not
paid
true. It was when I was 18.
I paid the note on it, and she filed bankruptcy on me. I've helped her financially to pay phone bills, and when utilities were going to be shut off,
That is a
I
lie.
loaned her money for that. I sold her a car for $500 below what I could trade it in for, and I took payments for that were far and few between.
Okay, what has she done for you?
Not much, Your Honor.
Man,
Your
what have
Honor,
you done for her?
I have babysat all her foster kids. She used to run a daycare in her
For
home.
free?
All up until last year, it was free. I did it last year for free because
whole
we started
year?
Last summer. The whole last summer I did.
For what months did you babysit for free?
Okay, it was from the end of school at the end of May all the way until they started school in August, the end of August.
Okay.
I dedicated that whole
Is that
summer
true?
to her.
No, sir, we didn't have any children that needed to be babysat until last July.
Did she do it for free?
She did it for a little bit, and it wasn't for free. She also has 3 children that
How
I
much
have
did
helped.
you pay her?
I paid her. I helped her with paying her bills.
No,
in exchange
that's an exchange.
In exchange
How
for her
much then?
babysitting.
Give me the number. When you have an agreement like that, there's a number attached to it. You babysit for me for 4 weeks, and I'll pay this amount of your bills.
She didn't pay nothing.
I gave her money so that she could pay
And
utility
she
bills. that
spent
were
a
gonna
whole
shut off.
summer watching your kids. Go ahead. What else you want me to know about your relationship with your sister other
Okay.
than you used to mooch off of her and now she mooch off you?
Well, the car thing she's talking about was when I was 18. And I did file bankruptcy, but I went back to the bank and re-signed. And my husband, Nate, he went ahead and paid it off because it was only owed like $800. And
So you
he's
didn't
the
throw
one.
her in debt?
No.
You didn't mess up her credit?
No, I did not. And she did not make any payments because the
Alright.
bank
That's
was
not
waiting.
true. That's not true because I'll tell you, if she's saying it was 18, she just filed bankruptcy a couple years ago.
Yeah,
so do you
that's a
think
lie.
a bank would let her go all those years without
Let's
coming
get
to
to
me
the
and asking me
saw
for the
and the
money?
refrigerator. I promise you, every brother and sister in America, somebody owes the other, and both of them have done something for the other over the years. So,
Well, Your Honor, they haven't been able to hold down jobs because of their drug addictions and alcohol use and Nate's criminal history.
what type of dope fiends are they?
They smoke marijuana on a regular basis. Cameo does.
That don't stop
currently.
you from going to work. Doyle here every day on
Can't
time.
pass a drug test.
You haven't missed a day. Well, ma'am, marijuana doesn't keep you
Your
from
Honor,
going
that
to
is
work.
not true.
I can pass a drug test.
I can pass a drug test.
Okay, well, that keeps him from being hired. Not keeps him from going in.
That's true.
That
He's
keeps
criminal.
him from getting a job.
He tried to blow somebody's house up, and he went to prison for it.
Okay. How long ago was that?
It was before I knew him, but I know that he
How
had
long ago approximately?
probably 15 years ago.
And I suppose the only reason that's relevant is because something has to do with a saw. Hopefully he didn't try to saw anybody. He didn't try to saw. What you're saying is irrelevant then. If it doesn't have anything to do with violence today, him trying to blow somebody up or whatever it was you were blowing up.
But I've had to support them because they couldn't get, jobs. And Cameo still doesn't have a job. She's
I'm
going
a
to school
full-time
now.
student, and I don't need to have
How
a
do
job.
they
My
owe you
husband
for a
does.
saw and a refrigerator, ma'am?
The saw happened because I had purchased a saw, and I had only used it a couple times. I do little arts and crafts things, and I needed a saw. And one day when I was not home, apparently Nate came to my home and used the saw, which we had a good relationship. He was allowed to come and borrow tools and use things, but he broke it and walked away and left it. And then when I went to use it, it was broken. And so I called over there and I said, "What's the deal with this?" And Nate said, "Yeah, I was doing something. It was a little too big and it bound up and it burnt up. I'll try to fix it." We came over and took it apart and said, "Well, it's just junk. It was cheap anyway. You can't fix it. Don't worry about it. I'll make it right sometime."
And that's not true. That ain't
Quiet,
how it
ma'am.
happened.
And I ended up buying another saw to replace that one.
You have a receipt?
I do not.
Estimate?
I tried to look it up because it was that model is no longer.
What are you asking for it today?
$195.
And when was the saw damaged again?
The saw was damaged April of 2010.
And what have you done to get payment since then?
I've asked them several times.
Okay, and the answer, never gotten an answer.
No.
If so, it was no.
Correct.
All right, and tell me about the refrigerator you're suing for.
The refrigerator is a mini fridge that I purchased from Nate's grandmother. I was working in an office where I could not leave to go to lunch, and Nate's grandmother had this refrigerator, so I purchased it from her.
How much?
She's for $75. She is now deceased. We were using it for camping because I have
Did he
several
take
children.
it? Is that what you're getting
They
to?
did take it.
Where'd they get it?
They borrowed it. We let them borrow it.
When was that?
They borrowed it
Approximately?
last summer.
Okay. And when you've asked for them to return it, what has the answer been?
No, it has sentimental value because it belonged to Nate's grandma, and we have enough money, they don't have to pay us back.
And in case folks think that small claims are minor issues and perhaps we shouldn't even be hearing this is what small claims courts do. They hear all claims under $5,000, and sometimes people bring them in for, some of the cases are even less than $100. People are there for principle, but I like for them to come here rather than to fight each other. That's why I don't mind hearing small cases, because this is about a saw, and either you'd come here or he might have sawed you. You follow me? Or you're suing about a fire pit, and either you bring the fire pit here or you might have thrown her in it. So I'm glad you all are here about these minor issues, but go ahead and tell me about the saw and the refrigerator she's suing you all about.
Okay, the saw was broke like 3 years ago. And the refrigerator issue, I let her borrow it last summer, and then she returned it like she was supposed to, and then she wanted to borrow it again this year.
Who owned it?
I do. Me and my husband. It was my husband's grandma.
No. Grandma Kay owned it, and I bought it from Grandma Kay to put in in the office where I was working at. You know that. They haven't been able to hold down jobs because of their drug addictions and alcohol use and Nate's criminal history.
What type of dope fiends are they?
They smoke marijuana on a regular basis. Cameo does.
That don't stop you from going to work. Doyle here every day on
Can't
time.
pass the drug test.
You haven't missed a day.
Plaintiffs Sherry Clays and her husband Andrew are suing Sherry's sister, who claims Sherry threatened her life.
Counterclaim for $600 for a fire pit.
Yes, the 100 is for the fire pit and 500 is for harassment, because these two have harassed me so much.
What have they done?
Okay, first of all, my husband was on unemployment for a year because his job laid him off. So every time we'd see Andrew, he'd be like, "Oh, are you off welfare yet? I'm tired of paying my tax monies to your welfare checks." It was not welfare checks, it was unemployment checks. That's a big difference.
You want
I
to
have
sue him for
never
that?
said that either.
You're suing for that?
Yes, that's one of the reasons, because I have a whole list here of
What
all
else?
the harassment.
What else? Tell me.
Okay, and we went on family vacation this year, and Sherry called my mother and was ranting and raving to her that I had no right to go on vacation and that I shouldn't have been allowed
That's
to go on
the
vacation.
harassment.
I think it's harassment.
Fire pit, you say what, ma'am?
Yes, the fire pit was taken over to her house for a birthday party that I had there. And when I tried to get it back in January, she said, no, you gave it to me. I'm not giving it back to you. And I never.
The fire pit has been at my house since spring of 2009.
Have you refused to give it to her?
I told her that I was using it at the time at a campground.
That was hers, though. Did you refuse to give her her item back?
It was not hers, and she gave it to me. And
she let you have it.
She gave it to me to have because we had parties. Yes, we had parties at my house.
No, I did not. I just took it over there October 9th, 2010 for my birthday.
That's not true because I already had Mike and Maddie and the swimming pool.
Anyone have any evidence of anything?
I have evidence from my witness because it was my sister's and she gave it to me. And
this is your sister?
Yes, this is my sister, Chris.
And it's her sister
It's
also?
my sister, yes.
Come on up. That's a good witness. State your name.
Chris.
What do you want to tell me?
I gave the fire pit to my sister Cameo when I was moving because I never used it and I didn't want to take it with me.
I don't dispute that, but it's from where you were moving from. You've moved so many times.
It was never used. And so she took it over to our other sister's house to use it for her birthday because it was getting cold.
What about the refrigerator?
I don't really know about the refrigerator. I know about the fire pit.
And you claim you bought it from his grandmother.
Yes, I did.
And no one has one thing. Nobody has recordings or any evidence.
Well, I'll tell you, she would never give anything away. My baby's going to be 8 years old.
Well, let me
and she's
just
still
tell
in
you,
his high
I'm
chair.
not sure who's telling the truth here. Just not sure.
She is just
My daughter
greedy,
had a conversation
spiteful,
with Cameo
and
about the
She only married her husband for his millions. She doesn't love him, and they sleep in separate bedrooms.
That's not true.
Yes, it's true.
Yes,
Ask
it
all
is.
of your children.
And Cameo
yes,
wants
it's true.
to sue us for $1 million because her husband trespassed on her property.
No, we don't.
Not true.
No, we don't. And you're
Ma'am.
only mad that somebody's suing you because you want to keep your millions. Your people at church,
Because
your
we
children told people at church that they don't ever get to go out to eat, so they felt guilty and gave you $50 to take your children out to eat.
That is not
and you
true.
gladly took it.
That is not
Yes,
true.
it is
no,
true.
Sir, Your
That is
Honor.
true.
That is true.
That is true.
That is
I
very
worked
true.
very hard.
Call her church and ask them.
Now, this definitely isn't making sense.
She told our mother she was going to kill her.
Ask
the
them when
police
they
report.
had
Want to see
jobs.
police
Christy
report?
included. She hasn't had a job for years.
I don't need a job. My husband has enough money. And
How about your
works.
live-in girlfriend that they're both supporting?
So what?
I don't have a
Who
live-in
cares?
girlfriend.
And your husband sleeps where?
In
You're
my
married
bed
and
with
have a
me
live-in
'cause we're
girlfriend,
married.
so your
Yours
girlfriend
doesn't.
and your husband live
My
there?
husband don't sleep in bed with you and you're married. Your Honor, we have the police report that she told our mother that she was going to kill her because she said she was going to sue her. She's so untrustworthy, our own parents took her out of their will and made her
sir.
executor of
I
the estate.
requested to be taken.
She didn't know.
it's
She
no
didn't even
will.
know this.
There's no will.
This is a total surprise.
You did
She didn't
something
even know
real
this.
bad. Oh,
I requested for my
You're really
father.
on the outs. If you're
We have
out
our
of
parents'
real.
will
I
right there that
requested for my
says.
father to remove me from being the executor.
Why would she want to be removed?
With Cameo.
Because they thought she was going to take all their money and not even bury her.
That's
All
not
right,
true.
Bury
ma'am.
them.
Well, should
I
we
have
talk
one
about Grandma
question.
Kay and the headstone that you guys
Ma'am,
never paid for and took
I
her
have
money?
one question. What you suing this woman for $200 if you all are millionaires?
Exactly.
Multi.
Multi, not just a regular millionaire.
Probably
A
7 times.
multi-millionaire.
6, 7 times.
Because I want her to start paying her way and be responsible.
Judge Mathis?
Yes, sir.
You
Yes,
said
sir.
originally before we started.
Be quiet. He's the only one that's going to make sense, y'all. You better listen. Go ahead.
You said before we started, you said it was the principle of the fact.
Okay. Then that's why you're suing. Thank you very much.
We-
I'm going to listen to you. What else you have to say? You have anything else to say?
All I have to say.
These other crooks, I'm listening to you. You go ahead, sir.
All I have to say is I wish that Nate's grandmother Maggie were here to set things straight. Nate and I have worked together on items where he did not want to get underneath the trailer to work on plumbing. I went over there graciously. I helped scoop snow. Nate has come over and helped me out. We've hit and missed on helping. And up until this came up.
Now, you make a good point about grandmother. You're saying you purchased it from his grandmother, and you say she didn't.
No, we let her borrow it last summer.
All right, so someone's lying on your grandmother. Either you're lying on your own grandmother or you're lying on the deceased woman. So one of you all are low down.
Plaintiff Sherry Clays and her husband Andrew are suing Sherry's sister, who claims Sherry threatened her life.
The problem we have here today is no one has any clear and convincing evidence, and I can't tell who's lying, to be honest. But the burden is on you, ma'am, to prove by a preponderance of the evidence. That is more likely than not that what you're saying is true. It can be proven by direct evidence, which is in the form of documents, pictures, or what have you, or by testimony. You have to convince me by testimony. You have the same burden on your counterclaim. You haven't given me anything about the property that you're suing for. So I'm going to have to conclude that no one has proven their case. Have a good day. Both your claims are dismissed. I don't know who's telling you.
Cameo, you know that your husband broke my saw and that I bought that refrigerator from Grandma Kay. And and the fire pit, you're welcome to have it on the patio. When you took the rest of your stuff, you could have taken it.
Yes, I seen it.
Because you knew you gave it to me.
No, because I seen it and it was nothing but rust. You guys had left it out all winter long and it was nothing but rust. Why would I take something that was worth nothing?
She's lying. She's conniving. She has ruled our family because of her money from him. She thinks that she walks on water. She has God. Everyone should bow down to her. And that's not going to happen anymore.
That's not true.
We're tired of
I've
bowing
taken
down to
care
her.
of them.